Iannessa, founder of EnRoads Paving. Welcome
Yes,
to the show, man.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have
Thanks
you.
for having me.
I want to give the audience and the other founders listening just a little bit of context in terms of what you do. So if you could maybe just in a sentence or two kind of sum up what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a national parking lot management maintenance company working from coast to coast, founded here in Chicago and just expanded from there. During COVID, we started planning EnRoads and launched about 2021, 2022 and just grew it up to 8 figures here the last quarter and off to the races.
That is incredible, man. I'm glad you brought that up because, and I was sharing a little bit about your journey in our founder talk community. I'll tell you about it afterwards. But I was saying, hey, in 3.5 years, I think it was, you said you went from kind of 0 to 8 figures. That is not the typical path that most entrepreneurs take. Most entrepreneurs don't go from 0 to 8 figures in 3.5 years, but you guys did.
We did.
So I'm curious to know, what do you know that other founders don't know? Or what did you do that other founders didn't know?
That's a great question. I would say the secret sauce for me, and I'm lucky because it comes naturally, is your network, right? And I know it's cheesy. People always say, oh, your network is your net worth, but it's true. Early on, I developed, right? I'm the youngest of 4 brothers. Like I said, grew up at like North and Harlem, Elmwood Park, River Forest area. So early on, with my father's influence, he was a trader in sales, developed a knack for networking, establishing good relationships, reputation. And that started, before I was born even, right? With my older brothers and the people that came before me. So early on, we brought on my family, made a family business, and then another family, actually it's from St. Charles, who kind of helped us get going. Joe and Dominic Sergi are partners of ours, and they've helped me tremendously. But I put together and raised about $500,000 in 1 year.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
I put together kind of like
I was wondering how you get started in a business like this, because it seems capital intensive.
Yeah. Well, I should back up from there. Yes, it is and it isn't. If you have all the equipment, yes, right, it'll be more than something like that. That was mostly just to cover me and my operating partner, Joe, at the beginning, office, stuff like that.
And who invested? Who was it? Not specifically, but just like, was it friends, family?
Yeah, friends and family.
Yeah.
Friends and family only. Family business. So I like to say owner owned, but owner managed too. So
did they have any hesitance about?
No, not really. It was kind of their.
That's kind of.
I don't want to give them all the credit as their idea, but it was because
really?
I was. That's why I say I should back up. I was working at a big national paving company. Me and Joe
Saw that. So you knew the industry, right?
Industry, started on the ground, $40,000 a year or whatever, flipping barricades, estimating, project management, and then kind of got a knack for sales. Just reached out to one of my partners who now owns a significant part of the business with me and Joe. And we grew and learned paving together, right? He had just started as the COO of his family real estate company. And he was my first call probably 5 months into the operational job. So I kind of fell into sales with our relationship. And fast forward, that was 2014, 2015 to basically COVID, right? In 5-6 years, grew that to a $2 million account. Which makes up probably like 10-15% of our business still, even today. But that came from a family relationship with my older brother, who used to do business with him at his previous role. So it kind of came together and almost fell into it. During COVID, management was no longer aligned, is what I'll say. The visions are no longer aligned between my clients, my team is what I'll say, and the big national paver. So he said, my partner said, I'm taking the business, come with it, or you could stay where you're at. And that's all I had to hear.
Wow.
So that was about 2020, call it. So I continued to work there while we figured out this transition plan, which was, cumbersome as it always is with lawyers and restricted covenants and all that fun stuff. But once we started rolling. So I remember summer of either 21, I think it was 21 or 22, summer of 22, we had contracts in place before we even had inked our insurance, before we had even incorporated.
Wow.
So that whole process is, talk about it to the entrepreneur and founder, that whole process creates who you are, 4 years in, going to be 5 years in here soon. It's a lot of 12 hours. I moved home to my parents. You got, show up the office at 7, stay there till 9, 10, maybe eat something, wake up, go back. And did that for probably, 9 to 12 months. Didn't have anything else going on in my life. Didn't have cut off a lot of friends, right? And just came home, saw my parents, food was there. And then we rolled from there. So that was like the first year, basically. And yeah, just, I think to answer your question and land the plane, it's the people around you. I like to think I'm pretty good at networking and, being a man of my word and keeping up my end of the deal, for the most part. Always have room to improve, but that really changed my life. Like I said, being the youngest of 4 brothers, coming from like a good sized Italian family, and then just finding people that are like-minded, and these opportunities arise, but you got to be ready to bite on them when they come, right? And not hesitate, right?
Yeah. If I would have sat down with you 5 years ago or 6 years ago and said, "Hey, Alex, in a few years, you're going to own an 8-figure business," what would you have told me?
I don't know. Wow, that's a good question.
That's kind of, is it a little bit surreal to even kind of process that you own an 8-figure company, dude?
Well, you know what? It's funny. I forget the CEO of NVIDIA, but he has a really good, reel, or, he's on a similar panel, whatever. And he's like, I wouldn't do it over again. Would I do it over again?
He wouldn't do it over again. Why did he say that?
He says he wouldn't do it over again. Just the sacrifices that you have to do. I mean, as an entrepreneur, some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you have to sacrifice: family, relationships, money. Everyone thinks like, oh, 8-figure business. Oh, I'm rolling in dough. Like, no, the founders get paid last. Right. And no, I shouldn't say that. That's not. But you
got to be making money at 8 figures.
That's no, you do okay, but the founders get paid last always, right?
I think especially in the beginning, as you're,
yes, as you're rolling, for sure. But you have your investors and your employees; they always come before you. That's why I said I shouldn't say that. Some founders get paid first, but our core values: execution, relationships, passion, and then family. I would take care of my family, and I treat my employees like family first, always. And I think that's what makes a good company, right? Mm-hmm.
It's funny you bring up the NVIDIA CEO saying that he wouldn't go back and do it over again.
Yeah.
The guest I had on before this, Matt, really awesome guy, great conversation. And we were talking about how he's been in business for 24 years. And he's like, wow. I made a decision early on when he had a son that he wasn't going to sacrifice family and kids and all that stuff to grow the business. And I've always been the same way too. Sometimes that slows you down from a business standpoint, but then you look back and you go, it was worth it. I wouldn't trade anything, right?
Funny.
It sounds like you're in the same camp as that.
It's funny you just said that, because this summer specifically, as we got close to 8 and pushing it over, I realized that the business had outgrown me personally. So I had put some plans on pause personally with, my relationship at the time, my future marriage, kids, whatever, because I felt that this, they call them resume virtues versus, family virtues or whatever. The resume virtues at the time at 27 was more important to me than, the family virtues or whatever. Right. And this summer and this spring, fall, whatever, I'm undoing a lot of the mistakes I would say I made early on by closing out some of those doors in my personal life and relationship, not dealing with some of the stuff, up here that I should have at the time. Right. Mm-hmm. So everything has a plus or minus, right. To it. I'd like to think having a cash flowing asset before starting a family was probably a good move, but everybody has different paths, and it doesn't matter, because I look back and I could have done both. Yeah. And I wish I did. Right. Cause now at 34, I'm starting to get more serious in my personal life and start a family, working on that stuff. Right. Yeah. So I would say, any of the viewers or listeners out there, that you can do both for sure. I had a young mindset of I needed to do this, and I needed to get to this dollar value and grow this and get here before I could deal with this. And that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made in this journey, for sure.
Why do you say that? Is it because nothing ever lines up perfectly?
Yeah, exactly. So you might as well do it. It's like, why not? I could have stayed in the relationship. I could have started the family and started the business, but it seems so cumbersome to do both.
Yes.
Right. So I think a young 27-year-old me you know, with this idea bouncing around in his head. No, I need to be laser focused. I need to get rid of this and get rid of that. And those are just symptoms.
Totally.
They're symptoms. It's not the true issue.
I see the same thing from a content marketing standpoint, because that's my business impacts. You know, I'll talk to clients and they're like, I'm busy. I don't want to start doing content or video or this. And I'm like, dude, you're never not going to be busy.
Yeah.
It's just, there's never going to be a perfect time. It's like, you got 3 months to do nothing but make videos. It's like,
correct.
You got to just, if you want to do the podcast, do it. If you want to do the video content, do it. You want to do LinkedIn, do it.
Just do it.
You just got to do it.
Like Nike, right?
Yeah, just exactly.
100%.
So other than the networking, it sounds like you had a lot of kind of clients lined up before you even got the business going. Yeah. What did you have a client acquisition machine, or what were you using to get clients other than your network?
Just me.
Yeah. Were you just cold calling or leveraging your network?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you like to say they're warm calls, like even my first client, now business partner, that I mentioned, warm call, because there's some relationships there behind the scenes. But no, just, totally organic, word of mouth, family relationships.
What is it like selling that type of product? Because, you know, I sell, you know, coaching, consulting strategies, more service-based business, right? I did staffing and recruiting before with, you know, we have a mutual friend. But I wonder what it's like to sell, you know, paving. And and just a clarifying question, is it blacktop paving versus concrete?
Yeah, asphalt. We do both, asphalt and concrete. Anything as small as this, you know, a couple $100, call it, you know, $800 to get out and restripe, you know, like these parking bays out here. We can do as large as, you know, $2 million new construction development. We're full service in that way.
What's the difference between asphalt and concrete?
Yeah, asphalt. So you can answer from multiple different ways. From a financial perspective, asphalt's a 10-year depreciable, whereas concrete's 20. So when a client is looking to acquire an asset, the most expensive, I should say the biggest expenses are a roof and a parking lot.
Right.
So we try to come in on the front end, help with the due diligence, the acquisitions and dispositions as well, when they're looking to sell their assets, and say, hey, this is kind of what you're really up against. So they can build that into their acquisition and go back to the seller and negotiate, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we really bring value.
So concrete's more expensive naturally. Longer shelf life.
Longer shelf life.
If it was cheaper, I don't think asphalt would exist.
Exactly. Correct. I mean, that's
so people just say, I'll pay a little bit less. I realize it's not going to, you know, in 10 years I'm going to have to redo it, but whatever, right?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah. Industrial, we do probably 70% of our business is industrial. So there's a lot of concrete and asphalt.
What are roads? Are just regular roads concrete?
Yeah, actually, usually like IDOT or like Illinois highways or even the city, there's usually multiple layers of asphalt and concrete.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny. That's why, you know, you see them resurfacing Lake Street or Chicago Avenue every year, every 2 years, because that top layer, they just keep removing and replacing the 2 inches or 3 inches or whatever it is to keep jobs moving, really.
Right.
And it's funny because as contractors, we all fight over the same 3%, but the material providers are the ones who are actually making really good money, right? So yeah, there's a difference there, but it's pretty similar. You know, the shelf life, like you said, is longer on concrete, but the approach is the same.
So if you're knocking on, you know, or having a call with a client, prospect, right? Mm-hmm. Are you just hoping to catch them at the right time when they might need? Are you looking at parking lots and saying, hey, it looks like you might need something?
Yeah,
you know?
A little bit of both. I mean,
and then how do they price you out versus competitors? Is there a difference?
Great question. I mean, I've probably, by now I'm shooting from the hip here, but probably completed over 30 million in sales, probably almost 1,000 parking lots that I've touched or my team has touched.
Wow.
So from a value standpoint, like I said, the earlier we get brought in, the more value we can bring. There's always the call it comp bid, competitive bid scenario, low bid scenario. We try not to do that. We want to build partnerships like this, right? For as long as possible, bring value personally and professionally. But yeah, I would say I've also had that earlier on in my career, like, wow, that lot looks horrible. Let's figure out who owns it and call them. That still happens a lot. Yeah. It still happens a lot, right? It's organic.
You can see if someone needs your product, basically. Yeah,
totally.
Right. I guess I can too from a marketing standpoint. I can look at someone's website, LinkedIn, pop video, whatever, and see.
I mean, that's how we are connected, right? Like a couple years in, like I'm still doing all of the marketing videos off my cell phone. Everybody can see that.
Right.
That authentic feel through the phone really helps.
Yeah.
But this is the stuff I want to start compounding on
Yeah.
and having more of.
Right.
Because to your point, being top of mind is everything in life, right? And how do you differentiate yourself? People want to see me, right? I've kind of accepted that being a borderline influencer is something I have to do to stay in front of these other guys. You know, where we found a living, Alex, right, is it's been going on for decades, but typically the guy, and there's some road work on the way here, but typically the guy on the pave box who's actually laying the asphalt is also the owner, president, CEO, whatever, who's taking the call. Hey, I need you to go look at this. Hey, I need you to price out that.
Yeah.
While he's checking the depths on the back of the pave box. It's not a sustainable business. It isn't a business at all. So where we've found a living is being able, or where I've found a living is being able to sit in the boardrooms with the white collar folks, but also being able to talk to the men who are operating the pave box. That comes from my background.
That's big.
Starting as a union laborer when I was like 20, even before that, working for a concrete cutting company when I was 19, and kind of seeing how the industry works, seeing the old school mentality, seeing, you know, millennials taking over the workforce now, us, right? And these boomers on their way out, being able to talk to them, but also being able to talk to the guys on the ground who are coincidentally the same age, and then finding that middle ground to make a living, right? And that's where we saw early on, I saw a big discrepancy, not only in Chicago, but nationally, because that man needs to be focused on putting down the product, and he can't take 10, 15 sales calls in a day.
Right.
And he doesn't have the resources. So that's kind of where the national paving game really emerged, seeing that middle ground, and just having a lot of trust, right? A lot of grace, a lot of trust, blind trust in a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, you get screwed over sometimes, like, you never do business with those people again on the client and contractor side. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's just,
Nature
you know, pretty
of the world.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question for you. This might be a little outside of your realm, but I'm curious. So I always look at like in the summer, you know, in Chicago, we joke it's like 2 seasons, winter and construction, you know, but there's always like the roads being paved. And I'm talking about just roads that you would drive on. And there's like sometimes where like they'll start a project and then it'll just go on for like a year. And it's like,
years.
what the? Yeah,
like
right.
90.
What is happening in that scenario? Is it they lost funding through the state? Or
That's
like
a
what?
good question. We stay away from public work
I know,
for that exact reason.
Right. But do you know, do you have any insights there? I'm always just curious.
Yeah, usually. So, yes, what you see is not always what's, how do I say this? What you see is not always what's happening behind the scenes. So a lot of times there's phasing involved, like especially on highways, right? There's lots of phases that take multiple years. So you might just see it as one lane as a commuter, but really behind the scenes on the other side of the Jersey barriers, there's a lot going on, cutting down bridges, connecting, phasing. But yeah, these projects, again, we don't do this sort of stuff, but these heavy civil, IDOT, highway, these are multiple year, you know, they feed a lot of families. It's a very big
thought of it like that.
industry.
Yeah. The
and
jobs it creates.
What's tough now is, I think it's for every, I don't know, but I don't butcher this, but I think it's either every 7 or it might even be 17. 7, so call it every 10 people leaving construction in the field and in the office, there's only 1 person joining. So we're headed to a crossroads in construction where the labor force isn't there. Now, you know, we did the whole college thing and the, make $100,000 and you'll be happy and healthy and and these kids are realizing it's a scam. I mean, we were the first to realize that that's not
totally
real.
Big scam.
It's not real.
In most cases,
in most cases, not all, but had I not, I went to Indiana University my first 2 years and then finished at DePaul. Had I not come back to Chicago and fell into construction, I wouldn't have a business that's, you know, being contacted probably a dozen times a day to be acquired by private equity or by.
Oh, I'm sure that's a big space for them right now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I like to call it the tool belt generation. I like to think that a lot of these kids are starting to realize, you know, I can make 120 grand, 100, whatever, learn a good trade and start at 18. And by the time they're 25, they're going to be making way more than I make, right? In the field too.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awkward swing back though.
Do you feel like young kids want skilled trades and blue collar jobs?
I will say this, I didn't at the time, but that's because society was pushing, and I still think is pushing, a narrative that's just not true.
Totally.
I think with social media, stuff like this, people can see the underbelly, the reality of the lies that have been sold to us by politicians and by the world. And I think what young people want is a shot at being part of something that's bigger than them. Yeah. That's how I started, right? My business.
Because you can also start businesses in the skilled trades.
Yeah.
And I've worked with a lot of them,
totally.
and they do well. It's like, you can join a trade, learn the trade, and then go off and either work for another company or start your own business and take the entrepreneurial avenue. I mean, there's plenty of ways to be in the trades, but not like do the same job for 50 years.
Right, exactly. Right? Start on the ground and move your way up.
Yeah. Do you think there's hope in the skilled trades industry right now?
Yes, I do. Yeah? I do. There's a kid who works for my brother. He owns a general contractor downtown. Who I think came straight out of high school. He might be on his like 5th or 6th year as a superintendent in the field, but kind of bypassed all that and, has a great career there, and he's learning the skills. I mean, who knows, that kid could in 15 years go out and start his own thing, right? So I think there's a lot of hope there, but changing the narrative of, hey, you're not a loser for not going to a 4-year college and putting yourself $190,000 in debt or $200,000 in debt, right? Or you're not. There's nothing less about you for going and learning with your hands. I don't know where this narrative came about. My grandfather was an epileptic Italian plumber, never spoke English. He came over here when my father was 1, and right. So to kind of
Godfather story,
back, it's weird because it's kind of swinging back, right?
Yeah, it is.
My brother and being more hands-on.
It is.
I do. I have a lot of hope for it because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a dollars and cents game, right?
Yeah.
You can come with $200,000 of debt out of college and hope to earn $200,000 in 5 to 7 years, or you can just go straight to making $200,000 at 23 to 26.
Is that what somebody can make?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you're working overtime during, I mean, maybe that's a little loose, but by the time they're 30, it's good
money. Yeah. And I think there's also the supply and demand. And that's why I was asking you this question, because I know if you're building your company, you need people to work, and do these hands-on jobs. Yeah. So you're thinking about it from a talent perspective, like I need to be able to find people if we grow, when we grow. But I think there's this whole supply and demand of, what happened over the last couple of decades with our generations too. Go to college. If you don't go to college, you're going to be left doing the trades.
Yeah.
Doing the trades? What? Like why? It should be the same, just a different path.
100%.
Right? So,
100%.
But it's created this big inequality between the white collar and the blue collar jobs, and the supply of people out there that want to do these jobs, which means there's still a heavy demand, if not more demand.
Correct.
There's less people. Those less people are getting paid a lot more.
Right. A lot more. I mean, I saw something yesterday on LinkedIn about the data centers and electricians. I mean, it's starting with MEPs, right? Mechanical, engineering, and plumbing. That's electrical and plumbing is the first trades to touch anything, right? And they're the highest paid. But then it's starting to come over to laborers, operators, concrete, asphalt guys. Like, it's swinging back, and we need to be ready for that, and we need to be pushing the correct narrative for these kids and their future families, right? Like, again, I got lucky. I fell into this by basically going to Indiana and partying too hard for 2 years. And I'm like, yep, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
And I look back and I wish I would have taken it more seriously, but also I wish I would have, been excited to wake up and go to work. But at 20 years old, waking up at 5 a.m. and going to work with guys who have been doing it much longer than you, are intimidating, stronger, bigger, whatever, the culture behind it all is intimidating. Yeah. It's intimidating. And, but that taught me those like school of hard knocks, rough and tumble, blue collar thoughts that were there from my father and my father's father, and we were just carrying it on. So I'd like to think I'm lucky. My dad always says rather be lucky than smart, but luck is where opportunity meets preparedness.
That's right. I do think the narrative is changing. I do agree. I think it's changing. I think it helps that people get on social and do video content and post things and get on podcasts, because that's how you reach the younger generation. If you're not doing that, they have no clue you exist, right? So,
none.
And continuing to also talk honestly about the college degree path and how that might be right for some people. It's not that it's never right, but if we look at a big pool of people, people that we know and us who have been through it and lived it, we're here to say that, going for 4 years for a marketing degree or a sales degree or a business degree, and if you're going in debt, $50,000, $100,000 plus coming out, it's not worth it. No. And most of the times they're not teaching you skills that you're going into the workforce that you're highly valuable day one.
No.
You have to start from scratch. So it's like, what did I just do for 4 years?
Really, like what I like to say is to validate it is you pay for the network. You pay for the experience, the network, make mistakes, dating, whatever, being with your peers. I think that's where the ROI comes.
But no one's teaching them how to actually do that. You know what I mean? They're not saying, hey, while you're here, do this and this.
True.
Like, this is the number one thing. They're like, this is your classes, and you got to major in this, minor in this. And,
it's confusing.
And it's a big bloated system that probably has a lot of money involved.
Yes.
And so it's hard to change big, bloated, heavily revenue generated.
Politicized.
So, yes.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But when I talk to people, I've never met one person, honestly, that has said, I think the greater education system is completely fine. We don't need any reform. None of it needs change. Everyone raises their hand and say, it's broken.
It's broken.
And it needs to change.
Most of the medical system.
We
can talk to her blue in the face. All of it.
Another one that's just got a lot of money. It's big. It's political. Those are the toughest ones to change.
Yep. It's scary. I mean, what you think about hiring, you got to add 20. We used to add like 14% or whatever. Basically now I'm like throw another 25% onto someone's salary because that's the true cost to the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's crazy.
What do you think in terms of AI? Because I look at the skilled trades industry and I think if there's one industry that's going to be less impacted by AI than any other industry, at least in the short to medium term, it's skilled trades. Like, because you're just not going to have a robot in the next 3 years that's going to come out and build a damn house or pave a road. But what do you think as we extend it out a little bit longer? Because now you're starting to see humanoid robotics. And I think they're going to be in houses in the next 5-10 years more commonly. Right now they're pretty rough, but they're getting better. Do you think that 10, 15, 20 years there's robots out there paving the roads and building houses?
I think, yes, I think there can be in certain scenarios. Like, for example, you're seeing these videos on LinkedIn, like, of the painters, right? Like, I think there's some...
I haven't seen those. What is that, robot painting?
Robot basically painting, drywall. There's seal coating, too, right, in parking lots, which is essentially just putting an oil tar-based product down over the parking lot to make it look black and restripe it. I think the maintenance side of our business is going to be affected more by... AI and start seeing some more efficiencies and some equipment and stuff like that. I think specifically in Chicago, like basically any project over 15, 20 grand has to have union labor, right?
Really?
So I think how the unions and some labor trade folks react to it, they still have a stronghold on a lot of these industries, a lot of these trades. Do I think I can see it in my head, but I still think there will always have to be skilled trades people, skilled operators, operating heavy equipment. But I do think a lot of construction, not a lot, but a good part of like our business, even I'd say probably 20 to 25% is maintenance. And I think there's going to be some efficiencies with AI on painting, seal coating, some of the smaller like maintenance items for some of these trades that I think we'll see some cool stuff. I'm more excited about for AI in our business, what it can do in the office, right? And it's not about, AI is going to take my job. That's not it at all. It's just we run lean from the beginning. We've ran lean. We're a 5-person team, about to be a 6 at 8 figures. It's almost, $2 million ahead or something like that. Is where we're at. So how can AI help my project manager schedule jobs quicker or automate emails or contact or whatever?
It's great for that.
Even myself, I use ChatGPT almost every day, but I'm like one of those guys who has lists here, lists in my brain, lists on my roof. But I'm like, how do we consolidate these lists? And hey, Alex, this is what you're calling today. These 4, show up to stuff like this and just go.
Make
totally. My job as easy as possible.
Well, we got even for this podcast. So you guys can't see it watching it, but we have 3 cameras here. There's an AI software that you used to have to go through. It'd be about an hour, 2 hours.
Wow.
And you can only show one scene at a time naturally, unless you're combining 2, but you'd have to cut between all right, Alex is talking here,
Yes.
pan to him. Now I'm talking pan to me. Now get both of us. That was a manual process. It took an hour or two.
Yeah.
Now it's 57 seconds.
Wow.
AI goes through and chops
Wow.
the entire podcast up.
That's awesome.
It's incredible. It's called Autopod, in case anyone's curious. But those are things that, like, in the office, man, and rewriting things and organizing thoughts. I mean,
Speaking of broken systems, sorry,
no, you're good.
It
You're
just
good.
Sparked
yeah.
The construction industry is very broken too. Let's just call a spade, and a lot of people out there don't want to hear it because a lot of people's jobs depend on it. But I was just having a conversation or L10 or a leadership meeting right as I pulled up about waivers. Waivers are important, right? There's legal things going on. They got to make sure people get paid or whatever. But you know, you send a conditional waiver. It has to be signed by me. I mean, my admin signs it for me, whatever. But and then you get paid, and then you send this piece of paper, and then this has to be so manual. And talk about like insurance.
Oh yeah.
We never know what. We shopped this around. Like what? Okay, like how are we just continuing to pay more on these huge verticals, insurance, medical, school, like all this stuff. And it's so manual still, the construction industry. And we actually do 90% of our business is to end user. So we don't deal a lot with general contractors because they're holding on to the money to get us paid. Now there's a couple good ones out there. Like I said, my brother owns a good one and get paid on time, not 30, not 60, but the whole process is very labor intensive. It's very manual, especially new construction. And it's a lot of people sitting in an office doing paperwork, looking at Excel sheets, and it's just broken. And I think there's going to be a conflict of like desires or values or whatever with some of the older generation. This is the way it needs to go. And some of the younger generation seeing more efficiencies, and that combined with the change in the labor force and these younger kids just not having the opportunities they used to, with the tool belt generation. I think it's like a perfect mix or alchemy of, I think, going to be a very good thing. I have to, I have to feel that and say that, right?
Right.
But yeah, that's like new construction is one of them, right? You got an architect, an engineer, an owner, an owner's rep. So there's 5 people by the time you get to the people actually doing the work, and then there's second tier subcontractors, third tier. I mean, you got thousands of people touching a job, and you hope to make 3%.
Right.
It's crazy. So it's a race to the bottom, specifically in new construction, and that's why we try to stay away from it unless there's a very strong relationship. It's just not. Because these guys, like, to go back to what I said about the guys on the pave box who are also taking the sales calls, they have to feed a machine of 20, 30, 40 people daily. So they need to keep the work coming in no matter how low it is. So it just keeps getting lower and lower. And then as an owner, at the end of the year, you look at your P&L or your balance sheet and you're like, how are we at 3% EBITDA or 5%? It doesn't make sense. And that's because you have to race to the bottom. So my job, I like to say, is to prevent that as much as possible. And not race to the bottom. Right. Have, strong relationships, negotiated work that's fair, not greedy, right? The two things can exist at the same time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of these guys just don't think that way out there anymore.
You mentioned you get a lot of calls from private equity wanting to acquire your business.
Yes.
What
that's relatively new.
Is it? Yeah.
Relatively new in the last 6 to 12 months.
But it seems like over the last few years, private equity has gotten much bigger into the skilled trades.
Yes.
Because they see an opportunity. They look at numbers, they look at industries, maps, charts, and they say, we've got this industry that's kind of much needed, and not as many people went into it. It's a little bit untapped, but it needs upgrading. It needs technology. It needs management.
That's perfect point.
And it's like that perfect storm of like, well, shit, let's put our money in here and grow this untapped potential.
Yep. Yeah. No, well said. That was a perfect segue and it's the same thing there too, right? Like, I like to believe there's some PE guys out there, or there's some people investing in the skilled trades that have the right core values or the right intentions, and then there's not.
Right.
There's also not, right? So weeding that out is important. We're out, not for sale right now, but one day soon, probably relatively soon, call it the next 5 to 10 years.
Why wouldn't you sell now?
I'm just not there and want it right now.
You feel like you have more opportunity, potential upside, and then get more money later. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm very bullish over the next 3 years. Regardless.
How do
of
they get in
who's
touch with you? Do
office.
they email you?
A lot
LinkedIn?
of cold emails, a lot of cold calls.
Yeah.
And I just, unless there's a relationship there, I don't even entertain it.
Once you tell them you're at 8 figures, they're probably like, cha-ching.
Yeah.
Because they want to buy 7, 8 figure. They want to buy established businesses.
Yeah,
that,
correct.
Yeah.
And that's the last year, right, is us transitioning from me, a laptop, a cell phone with my partner, Joe O'Brien, God bless him, figuring out how to do all my craziness in the field, to like, okay, we have our full office. We have a 6-person staff. We're adding heads. It's, we're not going to go out of business overnight. That founder scarcity mentality needs to go.
Right.
And we need to become the architects and the engineers of the future of EnRoads. And that transition personally has been interesting for sure. Eye-opening, humbling for sure. But
what would you, if you sold it one day, let's say it's 5 years from now and you sell it, what would you go do?
Oh God, I hate this question. Honestly, man, do it over again? No.
Would you build? You probably build something else.
Yeah, something else.
Obviously, you're gonna be young enough where you're not gonna like just sit on a beach somewhere, right?
Probably, and that's too why I don't want to in this time frame, because what I see is this. People talk a lot about this 2030 and all of this stuff coming to fruition and the national debt and all this stuff. I see that as an advantage because we're still young, lean. We have no debt. We're netting a good dollar value every year. We're healthy, right? And like I said, young. I'm 34, so call it in 3 years, whatever it is, 37. I see that, like I told you about the guys on the ground versus the guys in the office or in the boardrooms. A lot of these guys on the ground over leverage themselves because of this race to the bottom, because they need to keep the machine moving, because they need to feed families. And when some more financial distress hits, there is an opportunity to acquire businesses, to roll it up, and then start talking to private equity. And that's where like the processes come in, established processes that we're working on always, every day. As well as the client base that continues to come with us. But that's why I think in the next few years, I'm leaning more towards that, acquiring people in like the Southeast where it's more business friendly, or Southwest, in lieu of saying, hey, let's take a bunch of chips off the table and, go into the sunrise or whatever. But I'm totally dodging your question.
No, but I think
honestly though, Alex, what I would love to do, and I've always said this, is I would love to like go down to Florida or something like that and start an Italian beef stand and just sling beefs from 10 a.m. to 3, check out, go play golf, hang out with my family, hopefully kids by then, and just hang out, work out, do some yoga, pickleball, whatever.
Yeah, I love pickleball,
and just keep moving. I just fell in love with it.
Oh, dude, it's the best sport ever.
I actually got a tennis elbow. Believe it or
Really?
not. I started playing in July, and I played 3 days a week, and all of a sudden,
it's
we
the
were playing
best.
golf last week in the cold, and I'm just like, what is this? And then my girlfriend started pushing on it, and I was like screaming. But yeah, pickleball's awesome.
Does it go away?
No, there's nothing you can do about it.
Really?
I think you can wear certain things or whatever, but I guess that's what these old timers have told me. You can't do anything about it.
Dang, dude, pickleball is so much fun.
So fun.
If you haven't tried it and you think you might like it,
it's incredible.
Try it. You'll be addicted to it. We play all the time in the summer, spring. Now it's kind of
paddle at all. I've
No.
never played paddle. My brother's
No.
into this. I'm trying to play with him, but I think there's paddle, pickle. I think it's on an elevated surface with maybe a box around it, so maybe a little bit more like racquetball. I'm excited to play. We're supposed to play in a few weeks, but
I like that.
I love the paddle sports.
Yeah. Now we're getting to the season where you got to start going inside.
Yeah, you got to go inside.
Damn it,
and we're at the age too. It's like to go in and kill yourself at 7 a.m. in the gym and like no, man, I'm almost 35 years old. Like if I can find something that I enjoy I'm exercising, like come on.
I still do I'll do. So pickleball is like the fun stuff for me, or walking, or jogging, whatever it is, but sports stuff. But I still do like the pull-ups, push-ups, that kind of stuff, sit-ups, just to stay strong and sharp and that kind of stuff. But I don't like doing it.
No.
I hate it.
No.
I'm like,
that's
I gotta go do it.
Man.
I'm like, I gotta go do this shit,
Yeah, I probably put on like 30, maybe even 40 since the beginning of the business. You could see in the pictures too.
It's one of those things you don't notice until after a while, and you're like, oh wait, shit, I've gained weight.
I'm like, man, I'm not super healthy. I need to fix this.
But there's plenty of time to adjust and
there is.
get back to it. it. But
There is.
I always find the question, it's an interesting question to ask yourself, like, what would I do if money was no object? You know, if I had $1 billion, or even, to be honest, even 10, 20 million in the bank, if you invested that, just live off interest and shit, 250, 300, 400, 500 grand a year. What would you do? And I think my answer always goes back to I still want to build something that has purpose and meaning, and I want to show up to work and like work on something that I'm proud of, that gets me excited. That might look a little differently if I had 20 million in the bank.
For sure.
You know, I might make some creative different choices and things like that. But I think reality is I'd still be doing the podcast. That's for sure. There's definitely certain elements I'd still be doing. So, but it's interesting. And then you kind of start to think, well, do I need the 20 million in my bank account to do that thing
even do
now?
it? That's what I'm saying about like, having the kids and the hindsight's 2020.
Then you start thinking, is the 20 million even needed, or am I just making this excuse to not make the change I could make now?
I hate that word.
Right.
Accountability. No, 100%. Yeah, that's why I guess there's two avenues. There's the one, I guess that would be the more pragmatic, the beef stands in Florida or whatever, be close to my parents as they age. But also, like, if I really hit it big, like, I would love to have, like, somewhere on, like, the coast of, like, Italy, right? Like
a Amalfi Coast or something.
Amalfi Coast, like, during the day, have, like, a Zen yoga sort of thing, meditation, whatever, maybe some exercise or a pickleball court. And then as night comes around, like, have a restaurant and overlooking, like, the Adriatic Sea. And then it turns into, like, not like a nightclub, but like kind of like a day club or whatever, dance or whatever, in bed by 10 o'clock, start it all over again, and a golf course somewhere nearby. That's if I could make like a perfect recreational facility. Those
that'd be sweet.
Sauna,
Pickleball,
cold plunge, all
that'd
of
be
it
cool,
in one
man.
place. Yeah, that's the goal.
My belief is that I think retirement's overrated.
Totally.
I think in a couple different reasons. One, I think you should try to create the lifestyle you want now that is as close to what you'd want in retirement, right? Like live the life that you want now. Like this is retirement if you play it right. You know, in your 30s or 40s, whatever, right?
Perspective.
But the second thing is, I think it's like we've been taught to like save all of our money and put everything into these 401ks or this or that. And it's like, so I can be 65 one day and then hopefully I'm in good enough health to then go, do something? Well, like, why wouldn't I spend it when I'm younger? And I'm not saying be reckless. I invest and do smart things too. But it's also like, I'm going to enjoy my life and not like wait for the day I'm 65 or 70. Like, all right, I get to start my life now, I guess. It's I just think that's a shitty outlook. And you don't even know if you're getting to 65 or 70, by the way.
Right. No.
Nothing. Tomorrow's not even promised.
And that's another, talk about broken systems. That's another total scam, right? Oh, you could save your way to especially with how I went to the grocery store on Saturday, and Vanessa hadn't been, my girlfriend hadn't been probably like 6 weeks, but it was $720 for two people. And I'm like, dude. Now luckily I had like the coupon thing, it was 20% off, but I'm like, just like, what is all like, how did we get here? Right. I mean, $1 during 2020 was, call it 100 grand is like almost 150 now, or reverse 150 then is 100. It's only getting worse, right?
Oh, the dollar's going, Well, they'll just print more. They'll just type in the numbers.
Just print more. I mean, that's what happened in the last 15 years. So saving your way to success, if you will, is another one of those broken fallacies that push jammed down our throat as kids. It's not real.
Yeah. So you must be into crypto.
No,
you're not. Okay,
no, I'm not.
Usually when people talk about the dollar valuation going down, it's like put your money into something that.
I think it's interesting. I have not, and I kind of feel like I missed the boat for sure.
You didn't miss the boat.
I'm bullish on it, like crypto. I'm bullish on
that boat hasn't even
different
left
than what's happening now. There has to be an alternative to how money is being treated now. There's enough of it out there, right? I forget the dollar value, but it's the biggest. We're living through the largest transfer of wealth from the boomers to us, or millennial, Gen Z, whatever. And you just hope to position yourself at a good place for when those finances trade hands. You can take a little piece of it, or earn a little piece of it, I should say. And I think people like us are in a good spot, right?
You can see my Bitcoin sign over here.
No,
I'm big into it, man.
My
I think
partner's huge on it. I don't know.
And for me, I don't even think it's not necessarily like, oh, I want to try to get rich from it, even though I think you can make a lot of money from it.
Yeah.
It's just where I see the future of finance going.
Yes.
Decentralized finance. You know, it's blockchain technology. It's fast. It's cheap. It's more secure. It's you
the
can
new
trade
cash.
something on a Friday at 10 p.m. versus I got to wait till the stock market opens on Monday and then have my trade go through at 3 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
It's Friday at 9
It's
10 p.m. I want to trade it now.
Cash, right? Like,
yeah. So, but we're in a time period now, not to go too far down this rabbit hole, where the last, 5-10 years, let's call it, was very speculative. Like it was like this shit could go to zero. It could not be adopted by governments. The U.S. government could shut it down. There could be some other alternative that pops up. Now I think we're in a really unique time period, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'll just say that. But, but I think we're in a unique period where it's gotten a lot of institution adoption.
Yes.
It's gotten a lot of political infrastructure in it now, where it's, even in Trump is talking about we want to be the crypto capital of the world, and, major Chase Bank and JP and all these companies are starting to put it in. There's ETFs now, there's investment funds. It's really starting to get a lot, but it's still not there where most people are like, I don't know about that. Yeah. So that's the opportunity, because you've got enough of the security where you're like, seems like it's going to be a thing, but not enough people have jumped in the boat yet.
Right. 100%.
So I think it's actually a great time to do your research, look diversify. Into it, but look into going into that.
What's interesting too is like
we're at a dip right now, by the way, so it's good.
That's
There's
what
a dip right now.
I hear 2026 is going to be a little bit of a dip too, but I'm like,
I think it's going to be a rise, but right now we're in a bit of a dip. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I should invest some.
But when you look at the chart, a dip like the last few weeks, but if you look at this year, in the last 2 years,
how much do you want to expand it out?
I mean, Bitcoin's gone from like 30,000 to 120. Crazy. So, but it's
it's definitely the future for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity there for sure. I think, especially with Trump in office, he's really spearheading a lot of that stuff. But yeah, you just need an ulterior or alternative way to invest and also just trade, like you said. So we'll see.
Yeah. Brings me to my question I'm trying to ask all founders on the show now is where you're making money from the business. Are you putting it anywhere else? Are you real estate? Are you traditional investments?
I have a call with a client, or he was a client who went out and did like individual financial. So, there's Roth IRA, stuff like that, the traditional stuff. I don't have a lot. I have my whole net worth is in this business, and it's a scary thing.
I get that. I was the same way for my first few years too. And I'm like, I don't care about nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm out every penny I make, I'm putting it back in this business. Ride or die.
I brought on a lot of debt to start this business, sitting out for a long time and then waiting to get, cash flow positive, return the cash that we took. So I'm still chipping away at a little bit, not a lot, but totally manageable. But after that, my oldest brother is, he runs the trading desk at a big investment firm downtown. My dad started the mailroom and became a partner there. And so I'll just probably be like, all right, I finally have cash. Tell me what to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm right there, but we're still chipping away.
And I think your 20s and 30s is a great time to risk it and go for a business and put your money in there. And you can think a little bit less long-term. Yeah. I think you start getting your 40s, 50s, you start thinking, okay, it's, I got to start making sure I've got something to fall back on if I need
That's
it.
That's a good point too. You just made Alex, like I was the most, or I should say the least risk adverse person like ever before starting this venture. And as I get probably every day and seeing crazy stuff happen that you could never forecast, I'm starting to look at things like, what's the worst that can happen here? What's the worst that can happen here? And I think that's just the entrepreneurial journey that just beats us down to be a better man and think bigger picture, more macro, and see how all the ripples affect different people.
Definitely.
And how many lives we touch, it's intense. It's overwhelming if you really take a macro view, step back and really look at it. That's the sort of stuff I had no idea. Like I said earlier, like, if I create this business and this cash flowing asset and, I'm successful on the outside, then all this will fall in line. No. All of it comes out. All of it comes out. All those habits, good or bad, and when you go home or wake up, whatever that people don't see, it gets brought right into the business. The spotlight's on you 24/7. And that accountability can be scary sometimes, but once you lean into it and just kind of accept it for what it is, and you're in the driver's seat, it's very freeing. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for the business over the next year or two?
Next year, we're going to have a big year. This year was an interesting year, election year. The first 6 months of this year were the slowest start to any paving season I've seen in 12 seasons. So next year will be my 13th season.
Is that because people were holding off to see what was going to happen?
Yes. So what's weird was
I think people are doing a little bit of that now. With
they still are.
The climate period that we're in right now. And
I'd say the last, like, I call it the first week of August till now. It was like, it's like a different year. It almost looks like that on the books. But I think not to get on the political topic, but the election was so like toxic, and it is so toxic. I worry about another election cycle because like we can't keep going this way. But it felt like that was 2024.
Yeah.
Really, he wasn't sworn in until January. So actually, this is the election year. And I remember as a kid, my mom being like, "Oh, your dad, it's an election year, like whatever." And my dad, election year. I'm like, I'm 7 years old. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Well, I get it now.
Yes.
Because it's real. Things change hands. People get nervous. They hold off. And as contractors, people pay other things before they pave parking lots. But all of a sudden, I'd say the beginning of Q3, like just the release of capital, like I've never seen in this fall rush we have, which we traditionally had, but we hadn't had one since I started the company. This fall, this Q3 and 4, we've been really busy. So next year, we're starting off with a couple million already in the nice. Contracted. We were getting our office in January 1st in Elmhurst, downtown Elmhurst. I'm moving out to the suburbs, which will be a big change, big ethos change. And then getting to 15 and up to 20 and then to 30 is the goal. 10 years, we're looking to be at 65, maybe just after 50, but so what's that? 2032, 2033, somewhere around there. We're on track.
Wow.
We're on track. So the next move is, like I said, maybe in a couple of years acquiring some businesses, or maybe we could maybe I take one of those calls and take a piece off the table for these guys, maybe have a little more cash flow for me personally and my partner. I guess time will tell.
Exciting times, man. I think one of the cool things is like about entrepreneurship, and I would say just in life in general, is that it's an adventure. And
it is.
You can plan, you can guess, you can think what's going to happen, but just the way it can happen on the upside, and good things can happen that you didn't expect. You can also have challenges that you didn't expect too. And I think that's one of the scary but also beautiful things about life is that let's head forward, let's stay positive, let's work hard, let's have our goals, but life may take us a totally different direction. It could even be even better than what you would think.
Better. Yeah. I mean, to your point, you asked me earlier, if I own an 8-figure business at this age, like this is way bigger or better or whatever than I ever imagined.
Right.
And I like to say I'm a visionary. I'm the visionary in the company, and I think I envision most things, but I certainly didn't envision the business outgrowing my personal life, right? Yeah. So that was humbling and awesome to grow through, and just leaning into it. And I think the whole journey, I mean, to like put a cap on it, is resilience, right? Like this whole journey forces you to be resilient.
It does.
Forces you to be resilient. And I think that I had that growing up for sure, just growing up where I did with who I did. But the resilience kind of in the workplace or in the new corporate America or whatever is a very valuable skill that I cannot express enough to younger people, to put yourself out there. Angelo, who introduced us, he always says, live like you're going to die. The other day he said, matter of fact, live like we're all going to die because we are. Yeah. And your family loves you. And that's why I love him. He's the best coach I've ever had and never going anywhere. But that's what it's about, right? Like just embracing the journey and living that way, because tomorrow's not promised for any of us, So you show up in the best, most authentic way you can on a daily basis, and good shit happens. I mean, right?
That's right, dude.
It just is. Just good stuff happens, and then bad stuff happens too.
Yeah, and you deal with
when
it.
You're not doing that,
and it makes you stronger. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Alex, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and sharing your journey with us.
Awesome.
This is really good. Where can people find you, connect with you, learn more about what you guys do? And then maybe who's a good customer for you guys too? Yeah,
a good customer for us is anyone and everyone. No, but industrial, financial institutions, medical, anybody who owns any property here in Chicago. or outside that needs to be maintained, managed, hit us up on LinkedIn, EnRoads Paving, Instagram, EnRoads Paving. Alex Iannessa, founder and CEO, 708-800-8434. If you want to text or call me, I'll answer.
You just dropped the cell phone. Dang.
Whenever you want.
Be prepared when this blows up.
Yeah. So the funny part about that is I think we finally moved it, but all of our estimates had my personal cell phone on it and invoices for the first 2 or 3 years, and I didn't realize it. And I can't even, my phone is so much spam now. It's
really?
Like, maybe I should change numbers, but it's my number for now. So yeah.
Cool, man. We'll link everything up in the description, but awesome talking with you. I appreciate coming to do this.
You too. Thanks for having me, dude.
Thanks.
Absolutely.